Hello everybody. As you can see from the boxes behind me, I'm moving. So in the near future, my videos are going to look a little different. And most likely they're going to have an active toddler coming through and ruining such quality content. So with that said, I also wanted to point out something that has also changed, and that is our YouTube name. There is a reason for this, and it was me taking the higher road, not getting into a fight, and I just feel like maybe it's time for a change. Anyway, we'll go over that in another video. But without further ado, let's go over what the topic says. I know it's not a topic that everybody likes to jump into, and I know it's not a topic that your pastor is going to have a Sunday sermon about, but I do think it's an important topic. I want to go over my opinions and the opinions of other people. Let's get into it. Is masturbation a sin? Yes and no. Now, I was just watching a video by Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire earlier today, and he had answered some fan mail from a fan who asked if masturbation was a sin, and he said yes, it is a sin. I've also seen where people will say that masturbation is not a sin because it's not physically talked about in the Bible, but I think there is a gray area there, and I wanted to go over that. I'm not going to make this a hugely long video, but I do want to state from personal experiences that masturbation is a gateway drug. Nobody in the world has ever died of a marijuana overdose, but marijuana causes you to get high, and when that high is not sufficient anymore, then you want to do something else to get that high again. And that's why they call it a gateway drug, because you'll start doing other things that you think are not that serious. But in the end, you're doing things that you never thought you would do, probably stealing money and stuff like that. Now, that's a debate for a whole nother video, and I'm not getting into politics here. But the point that I'm trying to make is that masturbation is a gateway drug. Like some people say, it is not spoke about in the Bible. If masturbation directly is a sin, but there are hints as to what masturbation is in God's eyes. In the book of Matthew, Jesus says, if you look upon a woman with lust, that you have committed adultery with her already in your heart. Now, this concept goes for masturbation as well. I think it's very hard for anybody to completely clear their mind when they're masturbating, to not think of anything lustful while they're doing it. And whether you are a married man doing it to yourself or a married woman doing it to yourself, you are lusting over, might be somebody you just created in your mind, but you're lusting over someone else. This is why a sexual relationship between a husband and a wife is so important, and getting married is so important, because it's a gift. And the more that you do the stuff on your own, the more you find it won't satisfy you anymore. This is why pornography is so poisonous. You jump into something as simple as a Playboy, and eventually you're watching extremely hardcore porn, and it will happen in a series of processes that will lead to something like that. And then you find that your mind is changing, because you go from being a completely, what you would think being a completely normal person with normal sexual needs, to somebody who's got extreme wants that can't be fulfilled by somebody who's not a photoshopped gray alien. Okay. Oh, okay. As Christians, we should be looking at our body as a temple for the Holy Spirit. And by us doing something like that, we are degrading it. We really are. And unfortunately, that's part of this. Is it a sin or is it not? Is it something that God gives us free will on or not? It actually goes against the normal function of the human body. And what God set out for us. He made man and woman in his image, that we should connect and that we should procreate, not that we should self-pleasure ourselves because we're bored. And that's where things get crazy, because like my situation, if you've seen my testimony videos, which I will try to link in this video because I'm trying to get used to this whole YouTube deal, is that it started out normal, you would think, and it morphed into an addiction. And that goes for the process of masturbation as well. And in my opinion, masturbation is adultery. Absolutely. And I believe that pornography is adultery. So I think that those things come hand in hand. Now, I think it is hard for couples who are separated, let's say by war. Okay, you have a husband who's out in Iraq or whatever, and a wife who is home. And that husband could be out for 6-8 months on tour, or even years on tour, before he comes home to see his wife. Do I think that it's wrong for them to do those things together but separate? I don't know. I haven't been put in a situation like that. But I feel like if it is between a husband and a wife, no matter where it is, as long as it is them who they are thinking of, that is different, I think. And I could be wrong. But when it is something that you are doing on your own, where you're closing off the world from it, where you're kind of hiding, it becomes a shameful thing. We don't masturbate because we're excited and want to show everybody that we're doing it. It's almost a shameful ordeal from start to finish. It's disappointing. There's no real payoff. And in the bigger picture, you become desensitized to it. It's not as pleasurable as it would be if it was between you and your wife. This is God's design, but we're corrupting it. And we need to be really, really conscious of this, especially when we're dealing with stuff like this with our kids, is letting them know that you're going to have these urges, that it's not that they're evil, it's because your body is preparing for you to become an adult and to become one flesh with your spouse, and to do the things that God set as a gift for us. To let them know that stuff like this is not good for them, and that it leads to even worse things. That's why I keep saying it's a gateway drug. It sets off hormones in your brain that is addictive. This is how pornography gets people hooked. It's the same thing. And, you know, especially when it comes to young teens and stuff like that, they do that stuff all the time. And eventually it will lead to other stuff. You know, I'm not a expert on this topic, but I can say from my own personal experiences that it doesn't lead to anything good. But again, it's not spoken of sin, as sin in the Bible. It's implied that when you're going to do anything sexual, that it needs to be between a husband and a wife, because otherwise it leads to other things. And this is another thing that you see in the homosexuality communities and the other communities. There is that this line gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and unfortunately you lose something. This is one of the reasons why statistics have shown, and I'm sure I'm going to be flagged for this, but statistics have shown that there's a lot of polyamorous relationships in the gay community because they can't connect the way that a normal man-woman situation can. It's not by design. It's not. The same way that you can't masturbate yourself into love of yourself. That's not how it works. You lose something from this. Again, I say I'm taking most of this from my own experiences, but being a father myself, having a wife, and knowing that at some point in my life that I'm going to have a conversation with my son regarding this exact topic, I hope that I will answer his questions correctly. And I hope that this video has helped you in some way, shape, or form. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, if you want to debate about it, whatever, leave a comment at the bottom. I'm more than happy to look over the comments. Don't be nasty. Don't be hateful. More than willing to have a intellectual conversation about it, but I'm not interested in drama or trolling. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like the videos, please share them, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and watch more of my videos. Have a great night.